believe this is real, guys. The audience goes crazy.
Frankly, you are too old to be fighting a guy.
Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. The crowd cries, "Frank, you're too old to be fighting a guy who's 28. Well, and I can't believe this is real. Mike, I started Jake off and I'm currently finishing him in savage mode. He's in savage off for you. Beautiful, listen. No, that's for you, buddy. You believe I'm too old for this fight, so come on over. Mike Tyson, Paul, Jake, come on, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, guys. I can't believe this is happening." The crowd erupts in excitement as the long wait is finally over. Jake Thisbe is given the Catskills, Henderson, and the troubled youngster all good fellas. I am trying to convince him to look at the way he cut the angle on that, promising that this one will die duty the dog Tion, so I gave you the rules in. They're two legends, clean them up, and now we go live on the backside. Jack Paul, guys, I can't believe this is happening. The crowd erupts in excitement as the long wait is finally over, and now we're going to play. The referee will punch the fight. I've been wondering all week how this will play out. Could you read the guy? Matriarch, they are fighting once more. Mario Lopez repelled him with his right hand to the ably. It's been a terrific night of sports and entertainment thanks to GS Boxing, Sugar Ray Leonard, and a little help from Mr. Snoop Dogg Plus. Excuse me, Ibiuff. What? An eclectic, music, teamy that the show is over missed shots, and make him pay classic ladies and gents, International Boxing Hall of Famer in the world of sports. Few events garner as much interest as a high-profile boxing contest throughout the history of combat sports. The storyline of two fighters testing their physical and mental toughness in the ring has always been intriguing, but the potential matchup between boxing legend Mike Tyson and U2 return combatants Jake Paul is not into that level of intense athletic competition. If this battle were to take place, it would not be a test of athletic prowess or talent, rather, it would be a creation of the contemporary media ecosystem, which is geared toward clicks and views. What the public needs to know is that, should this event happen, it will mostly be a spectacle for entertainment purposes rather than a legitimate boxing match. Mike Tyson's legacy, one of the most recognizable characters in boxing history, is without a doubt Mike Tyson. His roller coaster of a career exemplifies the desire of a boxer to emerge from the streets and take the world by storm. Tyson's rise to fame was facilitated by vicious knockouts, unmatched quickness, and an air of invincibility. At the age of 20, he became the youngest heavyweight champion. In the late 1980s, he was a dominant force in the ring, drawing enormous crowds for his boxing matches that went beyond simple bouts. Buys of pay-per-view and worldwide focus. In addition to being a fan favorite and a feared opponent, Tyson was also recognized for his frightening knockout power and intimidating presence. He was also known for his aggressive and relentless fighting style. Despite his legal troubles, which included a conviction for rape and his infamous disqualification from the fight against Evander Holyfield for biting his opponent's ear, Tyson's career wasn't without controversy. His dominance during his prime years earned him the nickname the baddest man on the planet, and his accomplishments solidified his legacy as a legend who will always be remembered for his contributions to the sport. In addition to continuing to be a legendary figure in the sport, Tyson has recently had a personal metamorphosis, looking back on his turbulent history with humility and self-awareness. After a 15-year break, Tyson made his ring comeback in an exhibition battle against Roy Jones Jr. in 2020, and although it wasn't as exciting as it once was, it nonetheless served as a reminder of his star power. Jake Paul. In contrast, the development of YouTube, boxer Jake Paul heralds a new era of combat sports, one that is fueled by entertainment value and social media influence rather than athletic excellence. Traditional boxing fans and commentators have harshly criticized Paul for his debut into the sport, viewing him as a fraud or a circus act in contrast to Tyson, who spent years perfecting his trade in the gym. Paul began his professional life as a social media influencer, first becoming well-known on websites like Vine and YouTube, where he accumulated millions of fans. While these fights were initially thought to be gimmicks, they drew massive viewership numbers, and Jake's older brother Logan Paul and British YouTuber ASI headlined the main event. Paul's journey into the world of boxing began in 2018 when he faced off against fellow YouTuber Di Looney in an amateur boxing match. Paul immediately saw the possibility for crossover success and used his social media following to launch a boxing career against a number of famous and non-professional opponents. Despite the criticism, many still view his career as a series of glorified demonstrations. His victories over athletes like former NBA player Nate Robinson and mixed martial artists like Ben Assar and Tyron Woodley helped establish his reputation as a serious fighter. Jake Paul has continuously drawn a lot of attention to himself and his fights, bringing in millions of dollars from pay-per-view sales. His controversial and trash-talking promotional approach has made him one of the sport's most divisive figures, adored by some and despised by others. The concept of Mike Tyson, a legendary character in boxing fights, and the junction between fame and sport combat sports enthusiast and social media influencer Jake Paul is a boxer who represents a developing trend in the industry. The convergence of celebrity entertainment and sports competition in recent years. The distinction between sport and entertainment has gotten increasingly hazy as both promoters and fighters have realized the financial benefits of appealing to audiences outside of the traditional boxing fan base. The fight between Tyson and Paul is an example of this new era in which the main goal of a match is to generate clicks, views, and revenue rather than to settle a rivalry or decide who is a better fighter. This shift has been fueled by the emergence of platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, where influencers like Jake Paul can command massive audiences and draw attention to sports that might otherwise struggle to reach younger demographics, while traditionalists, though some may laugh at the notion of a YouTuber facing off against a former heavyweight champion, these kind of fights are really growing more frequent. Paul Logan, Jake's older brother, fought Floyd Mayweather in a high-profile exhibition match in 2021. While the fight was widely criticized as a spectacle rather than a legitimate boxing contest, it generated millions of dollars in revenue and drew attention from a global audience. Why the fight is all about views at its core. The hypothetical fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul isn't about boxing. It's about entertainment. Both Tyson and Paul have transcended the sport of boxing in different ways, and this fight, if it were to happen, would be less about the physical contest between the two and more about the media spectacle it would create. The fight would likely be billed as a generational clash, the legendary former heavyweight champion versus the brash young YouTuber, but beneath the surface, it's clear that the true motivation is views, clicks, and money for Jake Paul. This fight would represent the pinnacle of his efforts to legitimize himself as a boxer in the eyes of his critics. While he has fought a series of notable opponents, none come close to the stature of Mike Tyson. A fight with Tyson, even in an exhibition setting, would elevate Paul's profile even further and allow him to claim that he has faced one of the greatest boxers of all time. Whether he wins or loses is almost irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. The real victory for Paul lies in the attention and money the fight would generate for Mike Tyson. The motivations are more complex. The top level of competition is no longer something Tyson is interested in, but he has also demonstrated a willingness to enter the ring for exhibition fights, which give him the chance to demonstrate